Representative Plesa, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's start off with this. So we've got this special session that's just been called by the governor. We knew this was coming. I don't think anyone knew how many things he was going to put on that wish list for this special session. But at least one area, I think, we're probably going to see very broad agreement, and that is the need to improve emergency communications and sirens and that sort of thing for Texas rivers, and to really have a look at that considering what happened in Central Texas. That's probably got pretty broad agreement this time around.
Absolutely. I think that we definitely should be spending the next 30 days in Austin on the taxpayer dollar. A special session costs the taxpayers $1.5 million. So for the amount that we're going to be spending to call 150 state reps back, 30 plus state senators back, we could have already made those investments in warnings and sirens, launching more weather balloons so we had more accurate data on the flood that happened. But
there were missed opportunities over the years to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. There were missed opportunities in the 89th legislative session for us to make those critical investments. So I definitely think that that should be on the call. However, the governor doesn't need to call us into a special session to make these investments, to create these grant programs, and to help these communities that are devastated and need this resources as soon as possible. But my concern is the other items that we saw on the call. This is an 18 agenda call that we're seeing, and that's a very short period of time to deal with the things that we're seeing on the call. We're seeing attacks on election workers, we're seeing attacks on women's health care, attacks on the LGBTQ community. So yeah, it's definitely not a special session.
And then one of the ones that you didn't mention there is a behemoth in its own right, and could take an entire regular session, and that is redistricting. The call has been made to redistrict the congressional districts here in Texas. The governor wants that done this time around. We just got done with that in 2021, and here we are again.
Absolutely. I think that this is an obvious call from President Donald Trump to Governor Abbott to ask him to redraw these maps, because he's afraid that Republicans stand to lose seats in the next midterm election. And
they can't afford to lose many. They're 3 seats away from being in the minority in the House. If Democrats could pick up 3 seats and fill the vacancies that are there now.
And we are talking about targeting communities of color and silencing their voice. This is unprecedented. It is unusual for us to go back in and redraw congressional lines, any lines, in a mid-decade. We need to have transparency. We need to have community input. We need to have accountability for what we're doing. And so, no, this is very concerning, and all Texans need to be paying attention to what's going to happen in the next 30 days.
Yeah, these districts usually stand for 10 years, not the case this time around. And as it stands right now, Texas has 38 congressional districts. 25 of those are Republican now. 12 of those are Democrat. We have one that's vacant that was Democrat that'll be filled later this year. And I've seen some conjecture that some Republicans think that they might be able to pick up 5 more congressional seats here in
that
Texas.
Speaks for itself. Look, redistricting should be about representation, not manipulation. And that's exactly what is happening right now with the governor putting this on the call.
That being said, though, does this touch off an arms race? Do you see places like California then responding and saying, well, maybe we should redistrict as well and make our state even bluer?
Well, the thing about it is that a lot of states use a third-party redistricting committee to draw these lines so that they're fair and equal. Texas does not do that. And that's why it's critical for Texans to speak up and to say that they are not for us redrawing these maps without public input.
This was anticipated by Democrats coming into this week, but how much are the alarms sounding? How much are the lights flashing right now? Have you all been on calls? Have there been Zooms? Is there a lot of strategizing going on right now?
Absolutely. We are coordinating with federal partners, with state and local stakeholders, but we have been on call. We have been coordinating since the 4th of July weekend when we saw the travesty that was happening in Central Texas. So we have been talking and we have been strategizing as to what Democrats are going to do for Texans coming up in this special session.
And is there anything you can do to stop redistricting, though? I mean, you don't have power here in Texas. You don't have the majority.
Look, I don't think that this is a partisan issue. I think that there are still common sense Republicans out there that know that what we are about to do is wrong, and I call on every Texan to have that conversation with their state representative.
I've read at least one person out there, though, who says that this may actually make some seats more competitive for Democrats if they start toying with these lines in Austin again, if politicians start redrawing. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, as someone who runs in a competitive district every 2 years, my district in House District 70, Southwest Collin County, is one of the most competitive districts out of the 150 seats on the House floor. And I know that when Democrats show up, when we work hard, we win elections. So I'm not afraid of a competitive election, and I know that my Democratic colleagues are ready to go.
Okay, so what is the chance that all of this gets done, all the governor wants done, gets done in one special session?
Look, I think that the governor is used to calling these special sessions. This is his 9th special that he's called as governor, but Texas Democrats are ready to go. We're ready to fight for real policy, real representation. We're talking about real relief, and we're talking about respecting Texas families. We're not trying to do political games and grab headlines. We know that Texas deserves a hardworking government, just like they're out there working hard to feed their families, and that's what we're ready to do.
You got a big battle in front of you here, and there are some high stakes with some of these issues.
Texas Democrats always have a big battle, but we're also used to winning. You know, civil rights, voting rights, those were all Texas Democratic priorities, and we won on all those issues, so we're ready to go.
Representative Plesa, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.